Well, another edition of In the Circle, and In the Circle is brought to you by Rawlings. As always, it's the official softball of the Missouri Valley Conference and the NCAA. Today, we have Coach Mat Mundell, who is the head coach of the Evansville Purple Aces. And Coach, let's just start off talking about the beginning of your season. Now, you scheduled tough, but you had a tough start, started 0-17, but a nice turnaround as of late. But let's kind of talk through that rough start, the 0-17. What are some of the things that you did with your team to keep them engaged? That's, I know, when you lose back to back to back games, it's hard to kind of keep players involved. So what are some of the things that you did to keep them engaged and keep them moving forward?
Yeah, I think obviously wasn't the ideal start, that we were looking for or hoping for, right? But the ladies did an unbelievable job of like persevering and sticking to the plan, as we kept going. Yeah, we just tried to stay positive with them and just encourage them and just help them believe in themselves and each other. And they really did that, really well. They knew they were better than the record, right? And we dealt with some injuries and stuff early. We dealt with some close games and just some bad luck too, right? But I think all of it just only made them stronger. I think a lot of teams probably crumble, during that stretch, right? So to be able to come back and win 8 of our last 10 after that just says a ton about these ladies, their character, their makeup, their mentality, and the work that they're putting in, right? They believe in each other, they believed in themselves, and we knew once we got one, it was going to get rolling. So that was a good feeling. But yeah, it was a tough start, but really happy with how they responded.
You got some good seniors that have been around for a while. Hannah Hood, Mara Wood. I mean, they've been around the block several times. Were they kind of some of the leaders that kind of kept everybody on track and on pace during that stretch?
Oh yes, for sure. I mean, those two, like you say, have been tremendous players for us. Hannah, this is her 5th year, and Mara her 4th. So they knew they were better. We knew we were better as a team than how we were playing and the results. But we also knew that it was a process, right? We were trying to get and play our best softball coming into Valley play. So we just tried to get better every single game, and they were positive. They encouraged each other. They encouraged, um, you know, they looked in the mirror and encouraged themselves too, right? I think there was a lot of self-reflection for all of us. That was something that we challenged the girls to do. And I think they really responded to that as well. So, but yeah, those two are tremendous leaders, throughout that time and have been in their career.
So I just got to ask. I mean, baseball players, softball players, traditionally very superstitious. Any things, any superstitions, anything you guys changed in the dugout to try to shake that losing streak?
If you can think of it, we probably tried it. We did. Yeah, there were. I mean, we were trying everything, right? But Zoe Froster had found a 4-leaf clover, right? And I think we just kept it in a little bag. Since then, we've been playing better. But yeah, yeah, anything you can probably think of, we tried to get that luck going and rolling in the right direction. But at the end of the day, it was just really, like I say, like the belief in each other that they could do it.
Yeah, the luck of the Irish maybe has rubbed off on you guys.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this recent stretch. I mean, you have won 8 of your last 10, got off to a good start in conference play. So what maybe are some of the things that you've learned in the first part of the season and in the non-conference season that have kind of surfaced and boded well here for you now in this stretch of 8 of 10?
Yeah, we told them those first 17 games, you pretty much experienced, everything you can in a season, right? Like you experienced a lot of hardships, right? And you kept going, you kept battling. So for them, just, knowing that no matter what is thrown their way, they can persevere and overcome. And we started playing better in the circle. We got Sydney Weatherford back, who's been huge in her last few outings for us. She's kind of always been a rock for our program, really settling, when she's in that circle for us. And the bats got hot, starting, Mara hit a walk-off homer to beat Lindenwood, and that the hitting's contagious, right? And we went into Bellarmine, we put up some really big runs in that tournament there, carried over, we didn't play as well as we wanted to that first Indiana State game. But we knew we could respond, came out, was able to put up 3 in that 8th inning to take that game, and then obviously rolling into the Valpo. But yeah, it starts in the circle. We were pitching better in the circle, and then once the bats got hot, started to score some runs. So finally just putting everything together and, getting a couple pieces back. Lexa Davis back in center field for us, been at the top of the lineup, and then like you say, Sydney Weatherford in the circle. Getting those two pieces back, I think, also was kind of a shot of adrenaline to the team as well.
Well, talk a little more about Sydney Weatherford. I was looking at the statistics and noticed she didn't have as many innings as some of the other pitchers. And so I'm assuming, and I don't know this, that she was probably out for a little bit. So talk about her coming back. You've already talked about how she's kind of lifted up the team, but what makes her so strong in the circle?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, yeah, she's out with injury. The biggest thing for her is she's just so calm, right? Like you can't tell whether things are going good, whether they're going bad, right? And that's something that we needed, right? And when she's effective, she gets a lot of quick pitch outs, right? She gets a lot of ground balls, drop ball pitcher, lets the defense work, and the defense really played really well behind her. Yeah, she limited, in that first game against Valpo to 3 hits. Really settled in that circle. But yeah, when she's effective, when she's on, doesn't walk a lot of batters, gets a lot of soft contact, lets her defense get those outs, and usually leads to quick innings, which gets you back, batting offensively. So she had been ready and chomping at the bit to get in, and just kept doing her rehab to get ready. And I know the girls were excited that first time that she was back out there, lead them in the circle.
Yeah, it's nice when you have a leader like that be able to bounce back and get back in the lineup. Well, let's talk a little bit about one of your players that had a really great weekend. Lacey Smith had a huge weekend, a couple of game tying hits, game walk off hits, game winning hits. Just talk about her presence in the plate and how she approaches her at bats.
Yeah, Lacey's another one who had been out pretty much all fall and then was slow coming back in, with some arm stuff, and then so now she's back and trying to. She's always been a top-notch defensive player. One of the best outfielders that I think in the Valley. And then so the bats, trying to get those at bats, those live at bats, and just build on things. She had a really good warm up, before the game the other day, and my assistant coach Wagner said, "Hey, Lacey looks really good. I think she's ready to get that opportunity." And then she came in. I think she was 3 for 3 that game. And even some of her outs have been hard hit balls. She's starting to drive the ball, just getting more comfortable being in the box. But yeah, tremendous weekend for her. Really happy with how she played, and having her back again, is another a lift for the team, I think, as well.
Your sophomore catcher, Kylie Batts, having a great season. Really only played maybe 4 or 5 games a year ago, and so off to a hot start. Looks like she's playing pretty well.
Yeah, she had redshirted last year with an injury, was out at the beginning of this season as well, and came back and only played in a few. Unfortunately, she was out again this last weekend, but yeah, has done a really good job when she's in there. Taylor Howe really stepped up and had a really good series against Valpo behind the plate for us. I think that competition sometimes does that, right? It forces players to step up, and but yeah, just KB did a really good job for us when she was in there, and again, it's been an injury bug season, but excited to get those girls healthy and let them have those opportunities to get out on the diamond and play.
It's kind of nice to be able to have those interchangeable parts. I mean, you carry a lot of players, and some coaches carry a short bench, but boy, I think in this day and age, and you know it firsthand with the injury bugs that can happen, nice to be able to have a deep bench that you have some quality players that have been able to come in and step up at the right time.
Yeah, and that's something we talked about. 26 players is our largest roster I've ever had, right? And that's something we talked about all fall is the depth of the team and how so many of them are versatile too, right? Can play a lot of different spots as well. So I think that's been part of us too, trying to find the right puzzle pieces, get the right girls, the right positions in and out of the right spots in the batting order. But yeah, it's nice to have. I think you're seeing the athletes come into college these days with so many more innings and games under their belts, where you're starting to see some younger kids have some injuries, that you didn't see before, right? Because they're playing so much more. They're playing year round now. A lot of them are specializing in softball only, which I think makes it tough too. So I think having that depth on your bench is key these days.
What are your thoughts on that? Specializing in one sport, not having the diversity that like you and I grew up with, playing every sport imaginable. But what are your thoughts on that? Specializing in one sport?
I'm against it. I think be a kid, play every sport you can. I think playing in those other sports helps you eventually pick the one and be better at the one that you are, right? Because it's different muscles, it's different athletic moves, right? And it's more fun, right? It's different team dynamics as well, and maybe you're not as good in one of those other sports, right? So you have to learn kind of a different role of being a team player or maybe a bench player, right? So I think playing as many sports as you can, and then as you get to college, then going down to one, I think is the way to go. I think yes, too many girls limit themselves, or when they only play just the one sport. So I definitely would recommend play as many as you can for as long as you can.
When you're recruiting, do you kind of look for multi-sport athletes?
We do, yeah, we do. A lot of our girls were multi-sport athletes, in high school and very successful in all the sports we played. So, we really like that. I think that just makes them better on the softball diamond.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you're what, 5 games now into the conference season, I believe, and doing very well, 4-1 start. So just your assessment, and I mean, just kind of a high level overview of the conference this season, the how you see things shaking out as we move along and head to that conference tournament in May.
Yeah, I think this is probably the deepest the valley's been in a long time. Yeah, I know the slogan is the valley runs deep, right? But yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, top to bottom, I think any given day, anybody can beat you. I think SIU and Northern Iowa have kind of separated themselves a little bit early, right? But I think as you go through those 3-game series, I don't think you're going to see a ton of sweeps, right? I think you're going to see people getting some wins. I think there's going to be some upsets, and I think you got to be ready to play every single night. When you come out, to the diamond. So I think it's going to be one of the strongest overall. I think you're going to see, everybody from top to bottom be really close when it comes down to the final weekend of the season, which is exciting, right? It's nerve wracking, but I think that's what you want as a conference, right? You want to be able to play, that type of competition. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really exciting year for the Valley, and the fans are really going to like it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So, well, I've got you on game day. So good luck today, and
Thank
good
you.
luck this weekend and through the rest of the conference season. Thanks for joining us on a busy day, and we will see you very soon. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah. Thank you.